Off.
Yeah, hello, which says we're live.
It lies.
Yeah. Well, it depends on which argument we want to start with today.
There's so many of them. Hey,
Uh,
why is that thing pointed at me?
Get your butt back over here in the frame. Damn it. Everybody likes to see your shining face. Where was I?
Something about which argument to start with.
Oh,
So
yeah.
so intelligent aliens with armor? No.
No, we're not.
No.
Not going there.
No. That ain't gonna happen.
We were supposed to be joined by Jonna today. However, she's up to her alligator and assholes right now. Between trying to get a place to live, which she's supposedly signing paperwork on today, and fighting with the local city council.
I'm not sure fighting. It's just
She had to go in and pay $20.
Yeah.
apparently in small town Texas, you have to have a permit from City Hall to turn the electricity on in your new place of business.
Well, and like I said, I think that's because people would go in and make illegal mods, turn the power on, and watch it go poof.
Could be.
In other news, other argument.
I'm trying to figure out where her alligator is and why it's up to it and assholes.
Just don't.
Apparently, depending on which report you want to believe, and I tend to believe this of the Biden administration, that they snuck the remaining people out of Bagram in the middle of the night after they turned the power off.
Tucked tail and ran.
And didn't tell the Afghans.
I heard it the night it was happening.
Yeah, I did too.
They received an order that due to high command or command was worried that if the Afghans knew that we were leaving, the Taliban would set up to start shooting at outgoing aircraft.
Yeah, well,
and that was given as the reason why we were not notifying the local government, and we snuck out at 0 dark 30.
The Taliban haven't done that before. Now and today, the spokesperson, I'm sorry.
Spokesperson, I like that.
For it was that are calling Baghdad Bob. Kirby got up and said, "Oh no, we properly informed the Afghans that we were leaving. They knew we were leaving. They knew we were turning the power off."
Then why the Afghan national government starts screaming? Why the hell didn't we know?
How much equipment did we leave behind?
All of it.
Not much.
Now I know that in the grand scheme of things, it's sometimes cheaper to leave the equipment there.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, it's never cheaper to leave the equipment there because it always winds up getting used against you later, which is expensive.
It's just that
do you remember when John Shirley went over there and did his thing?
Vaguely.
You know how much equipment he counted for that they were leaving behind, brand new equipment? In excess of $50 million worth.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, the thing is,
if anybody's read Ringo's The Last Centurion, that pretty much played out in real life.
Yeah, the thing is, they signed that stuff over. They said, okay, we're leaving this behind. Somebody from the Afghan government, please show up and sign for it. There's paperwork.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Did they do that?
Mm-mm.
Because apparently the Afghans, if they did, the one guy that signed up to chauffeur from the Afghan government didn't tell anybody else then.
No, then nobody signed for it.
So nobody signed for it. So we tucked tail.
And to make it even better, the Biden administration is hanging the Afghan translators out to dry.
Yeah.
Oh, did we leave the?
We're dumping
Yes.
them.
Oh God.
Well, we did that to the.
We're looking at possibly sending them to Guam.
Guam? What the hell is an Afghan?
We did the same thing to the Iraqi interpreters, didn't
we? Yes, we did.
But some of them had enough money to emigrate.
If the ones that survived.
What we should have done was left the C-130 there, shoved all the interpreters onto the C-130, had the C-130 land in Guatemala. These guys could have jumped on a caravan and been in the States 3 days later.
Now, RK, they left most of the equipment. They took the bodies out, and that was it.
They
Everything else was left.
they
there.
took out what could be loaded on C-17s.
On the C-17s that were there.
Yeah.
They didn't, because
They didn't land any extras.
no, they didn't. You can tell
They
because
took the air assets that were there, loaded everything that would fit outside once they got all the warm bodies on there, and buggered off.
which is bugger all.
Yeah.
There are connexes full of equipment there now.
Oh yeah.
There's entire support connexes for fighter squadrons. I guarantee you that are sitting
Yeah.
there, and all somebody needs is a bolt cutter.
Yeah.
To take the lock off.
And I remember,
RK, you're right. Guam is at least not Afghanistan, but if they stay true to form, they will argue back and forth over this for so long that by the time they decide to do something, all those translators will be dead.
Yeah, standard operating procedure.
when the stuff we gave the Afghans during the Soviet-Afghan war, well, we wound up taking it in the teeth 20 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's old stingers.
They still work.
Yeah.
So
They work real well.
So in 20 years, we're going to wind up, we're leaving there last week, we're going to wind up taking the teeth in 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the good question, Josh. How many latest gen nods, small arms, ITAR?
Oh, God.
That's a damn good point.
How many next gen Stingers going to wind up parked in a DFW in 6 months?
I'm not worried about that. Short term, the Taliban seizes this stuff and sells it to Russia and China. Now it's win-win because Taliban gets tons of money to operate on, and Russia and China get our latest tech.
Yeah.
Although, not so much China because
we're already given that.
Yeah. And plus, we're buying our latest tech from them already. So
As Sanford says, a 4570 from 100 odd years ago will still kill you dead. Yes, it will.
Well, a 303 was stacking Russians in the 70s and 80s quite handily.
It was handmade in the up in the mountains.
Yeah.
The other
charcoal fire and a donkey.
Yeah. The other one that not so much struck my fancy as torqued me off this morning was the left screaming about the IDF rescue team being on site in Florida. Because, well, if they're there, they must have been involved in the building coming down.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah.
So this is the same group that says the GOP is responsible for defunding the police.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people are believing them.
The IDF has probably one of the best rescue squads in the world because they get to practice it every damn day.
Every time a missile comes down on a building, they get practice.
Yeah. Yep. It's a necessity.
Josh says, 7.62 of 54R is still stacking warlords and opposition alike. That's true.
Oldest continuous service cartridge in the world.
Here we go.
It is
54R?
Yeah, 54 hours.
Sounds about right.
Older than the 303 Brit even.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. Got very distinctive case head.
Plus the it's the longest active service.
Yeah.
It's been an active military. It's still used in active militaries.
Yeah.
Isn't it in some of their designated marksmanship versions?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also several automatic weapons that still use it.
Yeah.
RPK. That's 54R, isn't it? RPK.
Well, the nice thing about a rimmed round in an automatic weapon is your extraction is much easier and more assured.
Yeah, very, very definite.
Yeah, if anybody who's shot a pig that's of an age knows this.
Oh yeah. Some other interesting things that ran across my feed this morning because I watch a good bit of overseas stuff. India is now going after Twitter.
Good.
And they are talking about arresting the Indian head of Twitter.
Make it so.
Because of, among other things, porn.
It's the internet.
Yeah.
It was designed for porn.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, My Llama porn has great production value. And that's the important bit. I don't know why they're on me about this.
And you can record it in your little book.
Yes. My llama diary.
Yeah.
When you mentioned that, I got a porn text message.
This is why
It
I'm not on
knows all,
camera.
it sees all.
No kidding. Sent me a mom's all alone need no. Delete. Wow, that's a hell of a coincidence.
Yeah.
That's fast.
Yeah, no
Yes,
kidding.
Josh, JimJim has a thing for llamas.
I do not have a thing for llamas.
Yes, you do.
I have the second largest collection of llama porn in the world. That Turkish guy, I'm telling you, it's all crap. Okay? Mine is much better.
Higher quality.
Uh,
No,
It's all about production values. It
no
really is.
alpacas anywhere in your.
Professional makeup artists every time. That's important.
Josh is going, turn off Alexa. He ain't listening. I do not have anything like that in my house, and I never will.
Nope.
Because a friend of mine who is another refugee from Northern Virginia sent me a thing this morning about what they're now calling National Harbor, or I'm sorry, National Landing.
What?
It's since Amazon is moving their headquarters to Crystal City, and they don't like it being called Crystal City. They are
What's wrong with Crystal City?
broadcasting that this new national landing is going to be Potomac Yard, Crystal City, and the Potomac Pentagon area, Pentagon City, is going to be this new national landing.
Amazon has decided to rename.
Yes,
Didn't think
they
corporations were
are
allowed to do that.
pushing for this. They are leading the fight.
Well, they can lead the
And-
fight right into.
The
Are
other
they trying
thing
to
they want to
create
do is they want to turn Route 1 into a pedestrian-friendly area.
It's up to the city
Walking
council, not
safe.
them.
Wow.
Now,
You can take the company out of Silicon Valley, but you sure shit can't take California out of the country.
That's for true.
now, if anybody knows, Route 1 is not a little road. Route 1 has been there for about 300 years.
Really?
That is the main north-south thoroughfare,
And they're going to turn this into.
pedestrian-friendly.
Oh,
They want to make the lanes narrower.
good
They
luck with
want-
that.
They want to increase the number of bike lanes. They want to shorten the time the pedestrians have to wait to cross the street.
They can shorten the time all they want. The first time a bicycle goes up in the air like you see a landmine,
Yep.
don't stop that crap.
Yep, and as Richard said, it was at one time was known as Post Road. That was the road down to Washington's Mount Vernon. So, once again, people are trying to fix their muscles. And oh, by the way, Amazon is going to create a new wired Wi-Fi community there.
Yeah, there's a no-go zone.
Yeah. So that anybody's cameras can link to anybody else, can link to your cell phone via wireless, Alexa and Siri, and everybody else will talk back and forth.
Do you remember Google Glasses?
Yes.
Where Google Glasses, by design, was taking pictures of every face it saw and uploading it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Google, that sci-fi movie you watch, it's a dystopian future and it's controlled by the corporations.
Yeah.
Google took that as a template.
Yeah. And Richard says, and your appliances. Yeah, the appliance
my
laughs, I'm
appliance.
shooting that son of a bitch.
What is it?
When it gets to the point where I can only buy a toaster that's Wi-Fi enabled,
I won't buy behind toasters.
yeah, I'm gonna start cooking my bread over the fireplace with the old.
The only thing in my house hooked up to internet, only thing hooked up to Wi-Fi, is the phones to save on roaming fees and the computer.
Yeah.
Nothing else in that house, well, the TV. Nothing else in that house is hooked up to the Wi-Fi. Not the toaster, not the refrigerator,
Yeah.
nothing, and not the smoker. You know how hard it is to find a smoker that's not Wi-Fi enabled?
Yeah.
Why the hell would you want your smoker hooked up to Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
So PETA can lose their cupcakes over my brisket?
Yeah.
So PETA can go in and go, he's cooking brisket. That's bad for animals.
Yeah.
We love animals, and they turn off your brisket.
Yeah, and Josh said there was another one today from the White House chirping about sending out Corona strike teams door to door to promote vaccination.
I hear Corona strike.
team.
I hear bam, 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 open up, bam. Are you immunized?
Yeah.
At gunpoint.
The second they added strike to
Yeah.
that name, that kind of changed.
Strike team means they're jocked up. To me,
Yes.
it means they're jocked up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, RK says Amazon planning on setting up surveillance against the Pentagon, which is very possible because today, the Pentagon, either today or yesterday, the Pentagon canceled JEDI, which was a $10 billion long-term project to put everything in the cloud
Oh, good.
that came down between Amazon and,
No, the
you're going to
cloud.
love this, Microsoft.
What is,
Yeah, good that they got canceled.
what does the cloud stand for? It's an acronym for somebody else's computer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally, why
Anything to do with national security should not be in the cloud. I
Yes.
don't care.
you
Anything to do with DOD should not be in the cloud.
Yeah.
the lab we worked on when we were developing software for the military, there was no connection
Yeah.
to the outside world. And to get anything to the outside world was a process that took days because it
Yes.
needed to be approved and you needed to get the media. It was just,
Oh, you don't have to remind me. I fought
And-
that battle for
and,
more
and,
years than I want to think about.
and when I was doing it, I hated it because it was such a pain in the ass.
But I
when
understood it.
But on the outside, yeah, you understood it. The same reason that
Yeah.
you don't have windows on secure meeting places.
Yeah, no kidding.
But somebody in the Pentagon, somebody in the military, because it's the Pentagon, thinks that the cloud is so needle keen, we're going to do everything with it.
No. You're wrong, Jim.
Okay.
That was a push, and I do mean a push, by Bezos and Gates, and who was the original head of Google? Schmidt?
So the Pentagon canceled it. So
Yeah.
if it's been canceled, that means somebody thought it was a good idea inside the Pentagon up until it got canceled.
Well, there was such a push to go to a different media for the government, and especially DOD, because of all the hacking. And it was originally supposed to be a team between Microsoft, Amazon, and Google.
Those
it's
three
program.
aren't ever going to play nice together.
And plus, those three couldn't run a secure system if it
Hell
sat in their
no.
lap and
Yeah.
danced. You know what the
You're exactly right, Cedar, that the ugly arcs were pouty about being left out because it went from 3 to 1 company getting a contract.
you know what the military needs to do? Need to go back to 5.5-inch floppies
Yeah,
Actually, you're probably not wrong.
Xerox 8 inches.
because nobody uses them.
Yeah. Yeah,
We would be hack proof.
So, some
I
kid
still
with
got floppies.
some
Oh, I-
kid with overdeveloped thumbs
Yeah.
in the Pentagon was hey, it's a cloud's not a bad
I
idea.
have in one of my boxes in storage. There's a stack of 32 3.25-inch diskettes.
Yeah.
Which is Microsoft Word.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I remember
32
those days.
diskettes.
You remember the endless tape, what they called the tape discs?
Yeah.
IBM's endless. It was I actually had a computer at one time and a box full of those somewhere.
I use
Yeah,
those. It's just
Raptor, it's the usual. It's a cluster over here today, just like everything else.
What?
it's just
Josh says MS-DOS 1.0. Nobody will remember how to hack it except my grandfather. Excuse me. Some of us do remember.
Yeah, the problem is that if only your grandfather remembers how to, we're going to have to chase the Russians and the Chinese after they kidnap him.
Yeah. Some of us remember how to write autos and bats and config
Yeah,
files.
and
If you don't hack it, we won't give you your Jericho.
And the thing is, when Grandpa has a heart attack, ain't nobody can fix it.
Yeah, Bill Armstrong chimed in. He says, these days, if you want to transfer information by voice, etc., don't have any electronics near you. Anything in the cloud can be given to whatever they want third-party partner to have.
Read your EULAs.
Yeah, that's the thing of it. It doesn't even have to be given.
Yeah.
I mean, the cloud is so damned open
Yeah.
because 98% of the computers they're storing the occasional 1 or 0 on have no security whatsoever.
Yep. Yeah. As RK says, some of us are old enough to know how to write command codes. Yep.
It's just
Josh, I hate to tell you, but I started on punch cards too.
1985, my first ever program was written on punch cards, and I tripped and dropped the case when I was walking down the stairs to the basement where the computer was.
1969. Thank you very much.
Actually wrote it in Fortran.
They taught us to number our punch cards first.
That's when I learned to number my punch cards.
Oh no! It was first day of Fortran was because we were my first semester of Fortran was on punch cards. The first thing he said out of his mouth was, "I want you to write this at the top of your notebook. Number your punch cards."
Well,
we were doing it on IBM 1190.
Dr. Barkley wanted to make sure, he wanted us to find out for ourselves. He said, "This way you'll never forget it." He was right.
Yeah.
No, the Iowa State when I was there reconditioned an ENIAC and got it running.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was in their museum. It ran 3 or 4 set programs because all the punch cards for it. But we literally bought every vacuum tube in the country to do it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Josh says 1985 I was in diapers.
Oh,
I
hush.
should have waited to shut up now, Josh.
Can you boot people out of the chat?
No. That's the fun of it. So I'm sitting over here reading the chat and listening to you guys go back and forth.
Oh man.
The other good one that has popped up, and this came from Reuters day before yesterday, because we discussed it yesterday, is water rights. However, not U.S. water rights. It's Egypt versus Ethiopia versus the Sudan.
Y'all have fun. Let us know how it works out for you. We're off over here eating pizza.
Yeah.
We don't care.
Well, there might be a reason to care, because what Ethiopia is doing is talking about
damming the Nile.
Damming the Blue Nile.
Okay.
They have the dam in place. It's called GERD, which is supposed to reconstitute the Ethiopian economy.
Right, because then they'll have water to, agriculture.
They will have water.
However, last I checked, it's still in a state of civil war. Who cares?
Well, the Egyptians care, because half of Sudan's water comes from the Blue Nile.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it comes from the White Nile.
And all of Egypt's water comes from both branches. So.
Yeah, the Nile, because it joins.
But if they shut off the Blue Nile, and then Sudan shuts off the White Nile so that they get to keep their water, Egypt has no water. And what happens to Egypt?
The Muslim Brotherhood fucks off to greener pastures?
Either that, or there might be a strike against the dam.
I still don't think it would be a strike. I still think it would be Egypt going, we need to solve this problem once and for all. We are annexing Ethiopia. And then they march their happy asses in, just like the Italians did. And now
half of the Ethiopians, if I remember correctly, and I've been out of world politics for a long time, isn't Ethiopia still in the civil war?
No.
They
finally have killed off everybody that was
anybody that it could still shoot or they cared to.
So the Egyptian Boy Scout Troop 134 could take Ethiopia, is what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Go forth and sin no more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then all those atlases have to redraw their maps of Africa. Yeah. Remember how often that happened in the 70s?
Yeah. Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
And that way we stimulate the world economy, at least on a cartography.
Cartographical?
Yeah.
No, cartography.
We restart the world cartography market.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have fun.
Rand McNally,
I don't see a downside here.
I see Rand McNally going.
1st Battalion Combat Cartologist.
Yeah. Well, considering how much some of the old maps are worth.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
The map that was on for those of you who don't know, my father had this glorious hand-drawn, hand-inked map on the wall of his office. And it was when the very first Brits went in. And the jungle outside of Ori was this little bitty dot. and the jungle was MMBA, Mba.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people from from headquarters in Houston that it was the Mba Forest. I discovered later that Mba Forest means miles and miles of bloody Africa.
Yeah.
Written on the map.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that thing's worth, but I wish I still had it.
Yeah. 1st Battalion Combat Proctologist. Yeah. Josh says if Egypt annexes Ethiopia, another ethnic cleansing, with or without Sudan participating. Yeah.
I don't think Egypt would ethnic cleanse. I think everybody in Ethiopia would ethnic cleanse.
Well, that's the thing, is the Muslim Brotherhood's taken over Egypt, whether
Yeah.
they admit it or not. A lot of Ethiopians are Christian.
They're Coptic Christians.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
And
And
guess who gets prosecuted in Egypt?
for some reason, the Muslim Brotherhood has a real case of the hips at the Copts. I don't know why.
Well, it's because those apostates have survived in Africa, which is our land.
Yeah.
Point.
On top of all that, the Ark of the Covenant is in Ethiopia.
Probably.
Yeah.
No, there's a Coptic church in Ethiopia.
Oh.
Claims to have
Yeah.
it.
Oh.
Claims to have the Ark of the
They won't
Covenant.
let anybody in to see it.
Well, considering I've seen the movie, it's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Right. Well, no, seriously, they won't let anybody see it, but they claim to have it.
Yeah. Cedar brings up a good point. Ethiopia has been Christian for possibly longer than anywhere else.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
The Raptors going, no, it was in the Wall of Souls outside of Cairo. Now it's in Area 51.
Yeah.
It's in one of those warehouses.
Yes, in one of those damn warehouses.
Yeah.
I've actually been in one of those warehouses, and
and they
No.
let you out.
the depiction in the Raiders of the Lost Ark was not all that wrong.
No.
I
No,
mean,
it's just-
there are wooden crates upon wooden crates as far as you can see,
Well, what about
and armed people will walk you to your wooden crate.
Yeah.
Make sure you open your wooden crate and leave without touching any other wooden crates.
Yeah, you know what? If I was in that place and I had the opportunity, I wouldn't worry about the Ark of the Covenant. I would go into the corner that has the wooden crates of World War II Jeeps that are crated.
Uh-huh.
that would have been 2 warehouses at Fort Knox.
Yeah, they crated them for transport to the theater.
No, they were built crated.
Yeah. Like they crated them such that they were
Yeah, that's the way they're going. And then they just got
and everything in the crate was what you needed to put it together.
Yeah.
So you didn't need, so you could walk up without any tools.
bust it open.
And there were specific instructions on how to open the crate so that, and then you just,
And it was basically IKEA for.
yeah. They did the same thing with the P-47
Yep, it
Which
could be
kills
put together with its crate.
with its crate in the field.
Well, that's a smart idea.
That also in that hangar were a number of Rolls-Royce Merlin engines and a number of Packard aircraft engines.
Gold sealed?
I don't know. They've been there since World War II.
Well,
I
they weren't
remember-
gold sealed.
There
They
was,
lost. These 2 warehouses apparently were lost off of inventory.
yeah, because the one I was in had some Harley Davidson, or the crates had Harley Davidson motorcycles.
Now that was Red River over Texarkana.
Hush you.
I happen to know about that one because a friend of mine tried to get one of those sumbitches out of there.
And I was informed I hadn't seen them because apparently there are no Harley Davidson World War II courier motorcycles. And I'm pretty sure I saw 4 or 5 of them in crates.
Well,
They were
So-
all destroyed
That's, yeah. apparently.
there's some,
because they were considered unsafe for public transportation.
And they weren't wrong.
and the funny thing is, the
Hey, John, how
the
goes it?
German BMW motorcycle they used in World War II with the sidecar, the exact copy of it is being produced in Czechoslovakia and sold for driving on the streets. And it was no better than the Harley Davidson.
No.
If you want a piece of crap, go get the Chinese copy of the Russian copy of the World War II BMW sidecar.
Yeah, no, the ones in the ones produced in Czechoslovakia,
Crap.
yeah, they're correct, but they're exact copies, and but they're being sold on the streets
The
now in the
Chinese
US.
ones are even worse.
Yeah, and they're importing them and selling
The
them.
Ural, yes, Raptor, that's it. The Ural.
The thing is, there's some retired master sergeant out there that has the paperwork on all these lost warehouses, and is just waiting for the one guard that he couldn't bribe to kick the bucket
Yeah.
and go in and make a billion. Yeah.
Yeah. The Ural is actually, Josh, you got it backwards. The Ural is a copy of a World War II German BMW sidecar, and it's a shitty copy.
Well, it's a shitty copy of a shitty design to begin with.
Yeah.
From what I understand, the Germans moved a factory into Czechoslovakia,
Right.
And after World War II, the factory just kind of got mothballed.
Yeah.
And then somebody found the factory, and it's so technically not a copy. They're originals,
Yeah.
but the machining is so worn out. that they're
Well,
shitty.
look at the Argentine mount, our Argentine 1911s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the same thing. They're still being built on original Colt equipment from the 19.
The Philippine Rock Island 1911s.
Yeah.
The company of Rock Island in the Philippines bought the machinery from Springfield for the 1911.
No,
Shipped it over.
no,
It
they
wasn't
bought it from
Springfield.
Colt.
They bought it from Cole. Yeah, they shipped it over there. So it's original.
Yeah.
So guys that are like, oh, this is 100% original to the era.
Bad.
No, you don't want that.
No, you don't, because
That
I hate to
machinery is so worn out.
I hate to, and not only that, but that machinery is from an age.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that sounds bad, doesn't it?
Mhm.
It's from an age that required master technicians to keep it up and running.
Mhm.
I
Bill,
mean,
if you have one of those 1911s from Argentina, do not shoot full power loads through it.
because the machinery it required you had have people on staff to PMCS the machines on a weekly, monthly, if not weekly basis. Because they were fine tolerance, and fine tolerance in that day and age meant they wore real quick.
Mhm.
So you had guys that with files that would, we need to fix that part, and they hand file a new part and put it in there.
Yeah.
The whole thing about the Sistema, which is 11, the Sistema Pinso full power loads, is you can make the argument that any of the ones that we're going to blow up already have.
No, because they were not made with the same quality steel.
Right.
Right.
That's why Colt sold them all the equipment, because they upgraded where they could use heavier grade steel.
Right. But I'm saying that any of the Sistemas that we're going to blow up probably have already. The steel they're using wasn't all consistently bad. It was just spotty and how good or bad it was.
It's weaker. The Ballester Molinos are weaker than any 1911 produced.
Oh God, yes. And the ones that were going to blow up,
Probably
Haven't
have.
yet, but they still have that opportunity.
Yeah.
well, there is metal fatigue.
Because I get the same argument about the Webley. The Webley and 455 people cut the cylinders for 45 ACP.
I would not shoot a full power load through a Webley.
No, I wouldn't either. The Webley is the 455 Webley is a much lighter load than
God,
the
yes.
45 ACP.
Oh God, yes.
But all the Webleys that we're going to blow up already have.
Yeah.
Well, there again.
I'm not betting my digits on it.
Yeah.
I do. I have a Webley.
So Sanford's going, hey, Cedar, can I use the house money to buy me a bike? Yippee. That's this one.
Oh, anybody out there, if they've got an uncut Webley cylinder, I've got a Mark V that I want to convert back to 455 Webley. Just keep your eyes open. It's a cool Webley. It's got the acceptance marks from the British Army, which meant it went to an NCO in World War One.
Oh wow.
And we get Jim started on his World War One collection.
No, it's just lots and lots of useless information.
Yeah, the 1903s were made from 5 different grade steels, including piano wire. That is correct.
Yes. Well, then you start getting into the 2 groove versus the 4 groove.
Yeah, versus the nickel steel.
Yeah, and all the poor grade 03s.
And if you do that, we're going to run everybody out of here because they're not going to listen.
The ones that we're going to, it boils down to if it's going to blow up, it already has, because it's been 100 years. 100 and
well, there are still people
18 years.
that'll try to shoot a full power load.
Oh yeah.
The other water issue that's getting ready to come to fruition, or lack of, is happening here in the States too, with Colorado, Nevada, California, in Arizona.
Oh, that's been bubbling in the courts for decades.
Well, it's beyond bubbling because the lakes are down so far. Lake Mead is so far down, they're talking about now having to drill another pass through because it's
damn.
almost down to the lowest level pass through.
Oh, damn.
And California is saying it's our water. And
Yeah, California says that about a lot of things that
Yeah.
that don't belong to it.
and Nevada's going, just a minute. And Colorado and Arizona are going, oh, hell no.
I'm just laughing because we're sitting over here in Texas and we're flush with water.
Yeah, we're overflush.
Yeah.
We're overflush. Well, we're having the same issue at, you can get Alma started on Lake Meredith.
Yeah.
Because Lake Meredith's on the Canadian River.
Yeah.
And it's a dam on the Canadian. And there's a lake in New Mexico on the Canadian. And Meredith only gets any water once that lake is completely full.
Yeah.
And that lake hadn't been completely full. And so
because New Mexico shuts it off and
they haven't opened it.
Texas doesn't complain about it.
Yeah, RK makes a good point. California had a cap a few years ago when the upriver states started taking their legal share, and California thought it was theirs when it never had been.
Right.
Well, California just needs to.
But by the same token, they refuse to deflect any water out of the Sacramento River because of the Delta smelt.
Right. Right. So we can't stop any of that runoff from going straight into the sea, even though the farmers in the Bakersfield area are screaming for it.
Yeah.
Well, they can't get it. That's the problem.
They can't get anything.
And if it comes down to it, the priority will be LA, not Bakersfield.
The thing is, California
you
wants
can't have all those millionaires and billionaires out there in LA without good water.
California wants a utopian society. It's all green. We're running around in linens and everything. But they want it with all their modern technologies. Problem is, to do that, they've exported everything to support all the infrastructure to support the modern technology. They forced out of the state. They didn't export it. They forced it out of the state.
Yeah.
And they just started purchasing it because they thought, we're California, we'll buy it from them. They won't be able to say no.
Yeah.
Well,
and then things get tight, and Nevada says no, and California sues them.
Yeah.
Or things get tight, and Arizona says no.
Yeah.
And California sues them.
Well, in California, there's also the whole water rights thing in California, which goes back prior to the founding of California.
Because a lot of California, LA, why would you build your lush green utopia in the middle of a fucking desert?
Yeah.
Can somebody explain that to me? Las Vegas has the same issue.
Yeah.
Why would you build your utopia in the middle of a damn desert?
Raptor says, California has proved that Lex Luthor and Max Zorin were actually the good guys.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah.
Well, look at the Salton Sea. They built a drainage canal that cut off the Salton Sea.
Yeah.
They didn't care.
No.
Because
now they care.
this drainage ditch provided water to whoever.
Somebody.
And the Salton Sea is now this gigantic salt bed.
Yeah.
Because it literally dried up. It's just like the Aral Sea in Asia. It's just these people are idiots. And we elect them to their positions every goddamn time.
And they keep re-electing them.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are here. This man is a rampaging failure.
Yeah.
Let's re-elect him.
John brings up a good point. As a former Californians want agriculture to go away, and they say so. And it's all about money and power. Which
they don't understand that the corn in the can doesn't magically appear in the store.
Well, according to them, it does. John.
Yes, or beef doesn't come rum on the plains in prepackaged plastic wrap.
I love this.
Oh God.
LULAC just sent a letter to the facts in chief. We are being invaded by governors of the defeated Confederacy. I didn't realize Iowa was the Confederacy.
Yeah.
To arm the border against brown women and children. This is insurrection by recalcitrant and rebellious states that must be stopped. Welcome to federalism. Guess what?
Whoa.
Oh,
So
we just
one of the
blue screen, Jim.
this gets me every time. It's one of the few enumerated duties of the federal government is the border and protection thereof, right?
Right.
And the federal government has arguably fallen flat on its ass on this one.
Yes, and the states are
And the states
are
are being
doing
affected
what
the
they're
most.
allowed to do.
Yes, they're
And-
calling for help.
And the governor of Texas is allowed to call for help.
Yes,
And other governors are allowed to say, cool,
yes, we'll help you.
let us help you. And I don't think that fucking Iowa was ever in the Confederacy.
No, they weren't. Although Iowa does have the largest active membership in the KKK of any state.
Yeah.
Last time I looked.
That's kind of disturbing.
It is.
Nancy says California was great when it was rural. It's the city Californians who have no idea where their food comes from that are ruining it.
It's amazing
It's
how
not only that, it's San Francisco, because they have Hetch Hetchy, which feeds nothing else in the state except San Francisco. And they own that water. The state cannot even take it away from San Francisco, which is interesting.
it's amazing how many problems start with if only the damn cities would.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing about this is Iowa didn't send any troops. They sent law enforcement.
Yeah.
Is that right? It was Iowa that did that?
Guard.
Everybody's sending law enforcement. Nobody's sending troops. Everybody's
Right.
sending law
They're
enforcement.
sending National Guard.
No.
It's
all
law enforcement.
I thought only one of the states actually only sent law enforcement. The other sent some national, but I could be wrong. If they're all just sending law enforcement, which is
fine.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that. I mean, they've got law enforcement; they're enforcing laws.
And RK and Josh were arguing over how many cluckers are there in Iowa, 6 or 3?
How many cluckers?
Yeah, KKK.
Oh, no, seriously. It had when I was going to school there in the 90s, the largest population of registered KKK members was in Iowa.
How Army National Guard,
From Iowa?
Ohio.
Ohio. Oh, that's interesting.
Also not part of the Confederacy, if I remember right.
Yeah, unemployed Oregon LEOs will get hired in a heartbeat down there, Richard.
Yeah,
Tennessee, 300 National Guard troops, Southern Border.
Oh,
so it was just one of the states that sent law enforcement.
No, all of them have been seeing law enforcement. Several of them are
also sending troops.
South Dakota National Guard.
Okay.
So they're ramping up the game.
Also,
I know that Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina that are sending DPS, or not DPS, equivalent troopers and law enforcement, so they can help Texas arrest people.
Yep.
Which I'm fine with that, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And it's just like, but because it's closing the border and stopping new Democrat voters from getting in, they're screaming about it being racist. Do they call it racist yet?
Oh yes, that's when he said brown women and children.
Right, because
Richard ain't right. He says Rhode Island has racist bivalves, Ku Klux Klans.
Why would you?
I want those 15 seconds of my life back.
Why?
Yeah. I know.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Sanford says Ohio did raise a cavalry regiment for the South.
did they ever make it?
I think they did.
They might have.
Yeah.
But no. But the thing is the governor of Texas is allowed to ask the governors of the other several states for aid, and those governors are allowed to say, "You got it. Here you go."
Well, the thing is, he's supposed to ask the federal government first, because the federal government, that's your job.
Did you see this?
And he did. He did ask the federal government first. The federal government was like,
Nope.
Rapture says, my soon-to-be son-in-law is from Rhode Island. If she wasn't a flaming liberal, I'd tell her that joke. Sister-in-law. Anybody here have experience with goats? Goats sitting for a neighbor.
Yes. Why?
They'll eat anything.
Literally eat anything. Why?
Actually, the modifier should be they'll eat everything.
LULAC is the
League of United Latin American Citizens.
Yeah, that's it.
Are they anything like what's the Muslim one?
Council of American Islamic Relations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, they're very much like.
So they're
Well,
basically,
basically they're the KKK, except on the right side of what they think of as history.
so they're funneling money to who?
South of the border.
Okay.
To
Yeah, John, we
immigrants on
noticed
the
you
south
were
side.
a little busy.
What?
John finally chimed in.
Oh,
Clearly, I got busy. We already apologized.
Oh God, is she listening to this on her phone?
Yeah.
I think this will be the first time Reed's ever heard one of our.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
then
shit.
I have
Oh,
a few
shit.
things to say about Rita that I can say
One
now.
of the just weaned kids seems to have an eye infection.
Okay.
On the goat.
Go to your local farm and ranch supply house and get some up eye antibiotic
Yeah.
drops.
Yeah.
They'll be over the counter too.
And they'll be just as good or better than the human.
Yeah, you don't need to call a vet. If you're sure it's an eye infection in the goat, just get some.
Yeah, Cedar's saying call a vet. Cedar used to raise goats, so I would defer to Cedar on that one.
I used to have goats, and it's like they're pretty much the ones we have anyway. African goats are pretty much indestructible.
But you're going to eat them anyways.
Yeah, we did.
Well, it's not the goats over here are probably not quite as indestructible. Actually, Nancy, the other people you call, it would be the base there at Bangor.
There's going to be a vet on base.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a vet on base, and they use goats as lawnmowers.
But finally, my tax dollars being used correctly.
Yeah.
You know why they use goats as lawnmowers?
Because
Because
they
the
use-
goats pass a security check.
No. No, it's because you've got all these privates running around picking up goat droppings now. And that gives them
No.
something to do.
Not in that area. They don't.
But there's somewhere,
Private. These goats are just won't go
somewhere
on.
there's a command sergeant major that went, hello.
Yes.
Yes, they do, Nancy. They do have goats on base over there.
Oh, yeah.
Not in an area that you will ever see, but they have goats
Actually,
on base. trust
goats
me.
are better than sheep because goats won't eat the roots and sheep will eat the roots. And sheep are just stupid. Goats aren't stupid.
Private.
Sheep-
So
Goats are
now
just
we're
known
down
to go in
to
the
the
civil
discussion of Nubian or Boer goats.
Haza.
And Nancy says, oh, I have a Bangor connection. Great. That's who I would call Nancy.
Haza. You want a Haza goat. Probably can't get them here, but
What is a large rodent in South America? The
capybara?
capybaras were better at mowing lawns because they did it a uniform length. Literally, they would chew them to a uniform length.
Yeah, but we're trying to keep immigrants, South American immigrants out.
Yeah, do they come from the immigrant triangle? Do they come from
Sanford Bangor is not an Air Force base. There is more than one Bangor.
Yeah, and they're on opposite sides of the coast, so make sure you get the right one.
Oh yeah. What was it that?
Wallace says, I want 0 goats.
What sort of breed is a zero goat? I've never heard of that
I've
breed.
never, yeah,
I think it's 0 as in the number 0.
Oh.
I don't.
Have you seen a baby goat? You can't watch a baby goat and not just be happy.
Although their irises freak me out.
Yeah.
A little bit, yes.
Yeah, because then I'm staring at the devil.
Yeah, they're a little freaky. The
Yes.
horizontal slit's just not right.
Yeah. Oh, Richard reminded us. Redstone Arsenal, no-go areas, test minefields with Kim mines from World War II. Goats and sheep used as lawnmowers. Yep. Yeah. And they clean up a few other things while they're out there.
What I love is watching Belgians post pics of shells they dug up,
Yes.
Yeah.
and the first thing I do is I count the bands.
Yeah.
Because most of the shells are World War One, and the right number of bands means it's a chemical.
it's a gas shell. It's a
Josh
Gosh,
wants to
Joe.
know if the sapper lizards on the 4th.
What?
Wants the story of the sapper lizards on the 4th.
What brought that up?
I don't know.
Don't know. He
It's
asked the
talking to
question.
animals and it gets connections.
Have I not told the sapper lizard story?
You told it, but you mentioned one time something about the sapper lizards on the 4th.
I did?
Yeah.
I mentioned the 4th of July with the flaming monkeys.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, 1:30 last night. Somebody lit off some pretty big percussives about between 1:30 and 2 last night.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it hasn't stopped yet.
I told the fourth, the best ever 1976 4th of July in Roy, Nigeria, best ever.
Yeah.
I don't know. In '76, we used to all gather around the lake inside Rochester, and there was a little island in the middle of the lake, and they used to shoot the fireworks off from that island. Right?
Smart.
Right.
Smart.
Okay. So yeah. Right. So
That reminds me, did how many wagons did they catch fire down at the airport? Or have we heard?
wait, they usually catch the main one, but anyways, so we're watching the fireworks, and it's supposed to go on for half an hour, for whatever. And about 15 minutes into the fireworks, this gigantic bright explosion happens at ground level, and then nothing.
Yes.
Yes,
Fantastic, wasn't it?
yes, it was. We were like, best fireworks show ever.
Yeah, Josh says, I figured Ian was helping with the fireworks display, so I assumed there were sacrilegious.
I was not helping the fireworks display this year. They won't let me anywhere near it.
We sat in the driveway and watched it.
I remember.
Y'all sat in the driveway. I was hunkered down
Oh, wow.
in the closet in a reinforced bunker
With Obi,
with Obi,
the
with him staring at me, going, "This is the end times."
the last time I was allowed to help with the fireworks, somebody looked at the tennis ball sized aluminum foil wrapped mortar shell and went, "Where'd that come from?" And somebody said, "Ian, just before they lit it." And I am no longer allowed to help with firework displays.
For good reason.
I haven't seen a fireworks display other than on TV, and even then it was problematic because
Because you can make your own, and they're fun.
Yes.
I like making
Yeah.
fireworks.
see, if I'd been thinking, I would have yesterday gone down to the fireworks shacks and bought up a bunch for next year.
Oh, they do have the July 5th sales. Don't they?
Yeah, they have the fire sales, which
Fire sales
is a bad term.
Ooh, bad.
I remember once going right before dusk on the 4th, and the guy was like, "You buy one, get one free."
Yeah.
But I yanked the powder out of. Well, I started out with a standard
Yeah.
mortar shell, and I took out the propellant, stuffed it full of clear shot, and then pelletized various pelletized metals with nitrocellulose coating, so they make sure they ignite.
Yeah.
And it was a good looking firework. I was impressed. Nobody else apparently was.
John, we had in the middle of the fireworks display, a couple walked across the street with a Labrador Retriever. It was just totally ignoring the fireworks.
They were going off less than a block away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had, there was a little girl in the neighborhood was going around with a tray almost bigger than she was with cupcakes on it. And
Yes.
just asking strangers if they want a cupcake. Jonna was going to melt.
Well, you got to admit, George was a cute little girl. And her mother was following right behind going, "Please don't drop it. Please don't drop it. Please don't drop it."
Wearing her baby brother as a backpack, I noticed.
Yeah. And now we have the discussion of privates in fireworks fighting across the base are bottle rockets.
We did that.
And Sanford's, Richard, that was a vile calumny. At least in the Army, we used Roman candles.
Yeah.
A and D troop barracks were close enough that we could use Roman candles.
Yes. Across the,
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
and then you have your squadron sergeant major marching out going, "You will stop this shenanigans right the fuck now."
Well, it's like the signal gun at Aberdeen Proving Grounds.
Yeah.
When one of my miscreant E4s noticed that they weren't following standard procedures, and for the one time in his entire military career, he was outraged because they weren't following standard procedures. So to teach him a lesson, he stuffed a naphtha-soaked tennis ball down the muzzle. Because when you do the whole signal gun thing, you're supposed to clear.
Yes.
You're
The muzzle.
Yeah, and they didn't. And he's they can't do that. Frank, since when has that ever bothered you?
I don't think it bothered him so much as it presented him with an opportunity.
Yeah, but he was just You can't do that. They are. Well, that's just not right. Somebody needs to do something about it. So he stuffed a naphtha soaked tennis ball down the muzzle. Comet goes over the base commander's. Yeah. And I get a phone call.
Because
good
he's your,
reason.
because he's your miscreant D4.
Yes.
It wasn't so much that. It was probably the base commander called the brigade commander. The brigade commander called the battalion commander. The battalion commander called.
Well, we were there for training, so they called train brigade.
Right.
Train brigade said, well, there's that one.
Right.
We know who it is.
Yeah, there's that one bunch of idiots.
The problem is that some were in that chain. It went from the commander to the top NCO.
No, it went to the commander to my battalion commander back at Fort Hood.
And then
He called me, said, what are you doing?
the thing is, and I've learned this, the farther up the chain it drops from officer to NCO, the worse it gets.
You're not kidding.
And I'm not saying why I know this. I'm just saying that if the division command sergeant major gets involved, you're dead. Just
Well,
you're
okay.
not going to find the body.
At the time, we had, all right, and this was in 1 6-week TDY to learn Singars. We got Fred married, and I got knocked out at the wedding. We terrified the lightning fast chicken fuckers. I had to go to sick call twice with a jar and an FM, which was really embarrassing.
Yeah.
We launched the tennis ball. We short sheeted and nared the lightning fast chicken fuckers' entire barracks. So by that time, it was like a weekly call Ian and chew them out.
We had a sword fight at a wedding. This is the problem with being in the Cav unit.
Tell me how I know this.
Everybody has, because
Everybody's got a saber.
right, because the first sergeant says, you know what would be cool? If we all wore cavalry hats. If everybody in the unit gets cavalry hats, that will be the uniform for our unit.
Yes.
And he gets the letter because he happened to have raised the division commander from a butter bar.
Oh, yeah.
And so everybody runs out, and if you didn't have the money, somebody threw the money at you. We all went to the U.S. Cavalry store, bought our cav hats.
Yep.
And then the next thing happens, and the first sergeant says, you know what? No, would go great with these cavalry hats?
Sabers.
Sabers.
Yes.
The correct sabers. So officers had to buy their own, and NCOs had to go get the NCO saber. And then you know what's really great is when somebody gets married.
Yes.
Now everybody gets to show up in their Class A's with their cavalry hats.
And their
their
sabers.
cavalry sabers.
That's why I got knocked out. That's why the bride laid me out. One, I was so drunk. I was hungover.
This
So
is how you end
drunk.
up with sword fights.
It's when I whacked her on the butt, she knocked me out.
Yeah, I'm not saying people didn't get sliced with dull sabers, but
Well, that's actually tradition in all services.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, well,
Ours were dull.
they had a military edge on them, which means they weren't sharp.
No, we had a warrant officer with a grinding wheel
Who put a military?
that for a beer, you could leave a beer and your saber with them.
He put a combat edge on them.
Yes.
No, the walk through the sabers thing. That's tradition in all the branches.
Yeah.
But
And smacking the wife in the butt is also a tradition.
Yeah.
But she had to case the ass at me for some reason. I don't know why.
no, the sword fight afterwards is not part of every military's tradition. Though.
We had sword fights in the barracks.
Richard Brown says, saluting cannon, Coke bottle, World War II, bang, whistle, all in the whack barracks.
We used to
The
build.
next day, the prisoner at large gets to check inspect the cannon barrel.
We make bazookas out of beer cans.
Oh hell! Remember the one we looked at the signal cannon up in the museum?
Oh,
Had the
God.
Coke
Yeah.
can in it?
Had the Coke can smashed flat in the bottom of it.
Yeah.
No, we used to. You cut the top and the bottom off, and you
Well, that was when they were real
you
cans.
Yeah,
duct
real
tape
simple.
them all. No, we did these in the 80s with these aluminum ones.
Oh, yeah, we did
And we
too.
duct tape them all together. We leave the ass end on the one.
On the last one.
You'd shove a tennis ball in, and then you pour butane because
Yeah.
everybody has Zippos.
Hair. We
Hairspray.
did hairspray.
Hairspray too, and then you
Light it, and it was good for about one shot.
Well,
Well,
we
in
were
the
shooting up
old
and down.
days when they were real steel cans, you could do more than one shot.
Well,
Don't ask me how I know
The
that.
funny bit is when when the squadron sergeant major comes through on an inspection and pulls one out of a locker and goes, "What's this? That's a project we're working on, Sergeant Major."
I told you about the time the incoming brigade colonel opened the locker and found our shrine, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And on that note, folks, we're going to kill this one before it gets any further out of hand.
We didn't go too far astray.
And we have not talked about food, and we have not talked about the hunting anthology, which will not exist.
We talked about goats and capybaras eating grass. So
It
No,
doesn't
that
count.
does not
Doesn't
count.
count. Nope, doesn't count.
All right, folks, y'all have a good day.
Be safe, guys.
Remember, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet the sweaty stuff.
Y'all be
We'll
safe.
see you Thursday.
go outside.
Bye.
Ruff.
Woof.